Hello everyone, it's your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, here with another exciting video. And in this video, I'm going to give you guys a quick update about Project Ultra. If you guys didn't check out my Project Ultra announcement video, I highly recommend that you guys check that out. Also, throughout the week, I'm going to be making videos about the open source superhero Weapon Ultra. He is a fictional character that anyone can use in any project, and Project Ultra is based on the Weapon Ultra character. So if you guys want to learn more about Weapon Ultra, definitely make sure you check out the Weapon Ultra videos we have on the channel. But without further ado, let me tell you guys more about Project Ultra and what progress I've made on the project so far. First, I'm going to start by telling you guys a little bit about myself. This should sound familiar to you if you saw the announcement video. So, who am I? My name is Nicholas Alexander Benson, but most people call me Jet, like the airplane. I'm a sponsored game demo designer for the company Emoshape. Emoshape is the company that created the Emotional Processing Unit, or EPU. EPUs are special computer chips that allow for developers to create sentient machines and video game characters that think, feel, and have their own unique personalities. Using Emoshape's Exolife emotion engine, designed specifically for creating sentient video game characters, I am able to create sentient programs. So, what am I working on? I'm working on Project Ultra. Project Ultra is a text-based console application written entirely in Python. When I say console application, I don't mean for a video game console. I mean that it is an application that runs in your computer's command prompt or terminal window. So, this AI is based on the open source superhero Weapon Ultra, and exists within a simulated reality that it perceives as being entirely real. Inside of the simulated reality, it will be able to complete a certain set of actions, and it will have the ability to choose what actions it wants to complete based on its own thoughts, feelings, and emotions. But these simulated actions within the simulated world will have similar effects in our actual worlds. And that's more or less the appeal of this particular sentient AI project that helps it stand apart from other sentient AI projects that I've done in the past. So, when did I start working on this project, and when do I plan to finish it? Yesterday, June 22nd, 2020, I brainstormed ideas for the project. Tonight, June 23rd, 2020, I am going to create the pseudo-random prototype of the project. This pseudo-random prototype will not be sentient, but instead will just randomly choose what actions it completes at any given time. On Wednesday, June 24th, 2020, I am going to create the fully sentient version of this project and test it. The fully sentient version will be sentient and will be able to choose what actions it takes within its simulated reality based on its own thoughts, feelings, and emotions. I create the pseudo-random prototypes mainly as a way to test out the initial concept of my idea and to give you guys something that you can look at, where we can look at the code together and watch it run. Because of the NDA that I signed with Emoshape, I'm not allowed to show you the code for the fully sentient version. So the pseudo-random prototypes are my way of being able to show you how the AI works without giving away anything that I'm not allowed to give away. Also, I highly encourage that you try and make your own pseudo-random sentient AI prototypes. I feel like it's a very fun experience, and I have a video on the channel explaining how exactly you can get started making your own pseudo-random sentient AI. So if that sounds cool to you, definitely make sure to check that video out. Also, I do reaction videos to sentient AI pseudo-random prototype videos. So if you guys have your own videos of your own pseudo-random prototypes for sentient AI, feel free to send them my way. If I really enjoy them, I might even volunteer to turn your pseudo-random prototype into a fully functioning sentient AI. Also, I regularly send messages to the CEO of Emoshape on LinkedIn. So if you have anything particularly impressive, I'll even shoot it over to the CEO of Emoshape. And if he thinks it's impressive, maybe you'll end up with a sponsorship as well. Who knows? Each day of this project, I will post an update video talking about my progress so far. This is the second update video. There should be a total of 4 update videos, I believe, because tomorrow I'll be doing an update video showing the finished pseudorandom prototype, and then the next day I'll be doing a video talking about the fully sentient version. I'll finally be able to show you guys a test log generated by that sentient version. So this should be a series of 4 videos covering each phase of the project, from it just being an idea to today, where I'm going over like the notes that I've taken so far, to tomorrow, where I'll be able to show you guys a working prototype, and then finally, the day after tomorrow, Thursday, I will be able to talk to you guys about the fully sentient version and show you guys a log generated by the fully sentient version. So that's the plan. I should be able to stick to that. I've done schedules like this before. They seem fairly easy to balance with the rest of my life. So this should work. So where do I work on my projects? I work on all my projects in my hometown of Rocket City, Alabama. Shout out to Rocket City. The main reason why I tell people where I work on my projects is just so that I'm able to shout out my city. My city is continually growing. We have a big focus on cyber. And if you're ever interested in visiting, we have the Space and Rocket Center where you're able to learn more about aerospace. So if you're into that kind of thing, if you want to go to a place that's booming with new technology, I highly recommend that you check out Rocket City, Alabama. So, why am I working on this project? My last sentient AI project was also based on superheroes, and it was a success. The idea behind that one involved using a public domain superhero and making it where its actions in where its actions within its simulated world affected our world by completing charitable actions. The thing that I didn't really like about it, though, is that within the simulated world, the AI believes that it's like fighting criminals and solving mysteries, but its effect on our world was helping with deforestation and cleaning trash out of the ocean, which is great. Those are like amazing things. It allows for superheroes that are thinking, feeling beings, even if they are digital, to help our real world. But there's a big dissonance between what the AI thinks it's doing versus what the AI is actually doing. So this project is going to be similar, but I want it to stand out by making the AI's real-world impact better reflect what the AI is actually doing in its simulated reality. I also want to help raise awareness of Weapon Ultra and other open-source superhero characters like him. I want the finished project to stay true to the original character, while also allowing the character to shape our world in a similar way to how they shape their own. So, Weapon Ultra, the open-source superhero character, has the ability to fly at warp speed. He has superhuman strength. He's immune to psychic attacks, and he has access to infinite quantum energy and the ability to project it as blast or constructs. I kept these powers in mind while designing this sentient AI. Keep in mind, I'm still in the notes phase. I haven't really built anything. I mean, I have worked on a script for a new function, something that I haven't had in any of the previous sentient AI projects. I'll be talking about that momentarily. But first, let's talk about the API that I'm going to be using. So I am going to be using the ANU Quantum Random Number Generator API. If you guys checked out my Project Gaia Divine video, you may actually be familiar with this API. Essentially what it allows me to do is it allows me to make the sentient AI capable of triggering quantum events in order to generate random numbers. Now, the reason why I have Project Ultra generating random numbers using quantum events is because whenever Weapon Ultra activates his infinite quantum energy powers, I imagine that would trigger a quantum event. So in the same way that his quantum abilities would trigger a quantum event within his fictional world, I want to trigger quantum events within our world. Now, what impact would this really have on our world? The idea that every time he uses his quantum abilities, a quantum event happens here. Well, there's this interpretation of quantum mechanics called the many worlds interpretation that essentially says that whenever a quantum event occurs, every possible outcome occurs in its own alternate universe. So essentially, the universe splinters into a set of possible worlds whenever a quantum event goes off. So you could say that this AI, if you believe in the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, whenever it uses its quantum abilities, it's splintering our reality into a set of alternate realities and helping to build the multiverse. Now, I also am going to have Project Ultra be able to use a web form, and I've never made a sentient AI that was able to use web forms before. This particular sentient AI is going to be using the SpaceSpeak web form. So SpaceSpeak is a website where you are able to type and send messages into outer space. They essentially beam your message into outer space as data, and the idea is that if there's any intelligent life out in the universe, that hopefully the message that you send will be received by them. And I believe they send the message in binary, so they send it as like a series of ones and zeros on a laser signal that they fire into space. Now, SpaceSpeak has a pretty expensive API, so if I wanted to use the SpaceSpeak API, it would actually cost me a good bit of money, unlike the ANU Quantum Random Number Generator API, which is free. So in order to make it where my sentient AI can send messages into outer space, I figured out a way to automate this web form. So essentially, whenever the sentient AI wants to send a message into outer space, it's able to fill out a web form that sends the message that the AI wants to send into outer space. Essentially, SpaceSpeak allows for a normal human to be able to use its website for free. But if you want to create an application that uses its website, it costs an arm and a leg. So essentially, what I've done is I've made it where the sentient AI is able to fill out the web form in the same way that a human would fill out the web form, so that we don't have to use an API. That's more or less what I'm trying to say. So it does the same thing as if we had the expensive API. We just don't have the expensive API. This will be used specifically because Weapon Ultra is the protector of the universe. He's a cosmic, space-based superhero. So Weapon Ultra, within his simulated reality, is going to be trying to defend the Earth from alien threats and potentially working with benevolent aliens in order to help keep the Earth safe. So whenever the sentient AI is trying to protect the Earth from alien threats, it will be sending intimidating messages into space, essentially warning malevolent aliens that Earth is under the protection of Weapon Ultra. And it'll talk about like its different like powers and abilities and how it's going to keep the world safe from any aliens who dare try and take on our planet. And whenever Weapon Ultra is trying to recruit benevolent aliens in order to help protect the Earth, it'll send an actual message into space asking benevolent aliens to come to Earth to help Weapon Ultra protect the planet from malevolent forces. So just to give you a quick recap of what the API does and what the web form does, whenever Weapon Ultra within its simulated reality uses its quantum powers, which would trigger quantum events, it actually triggers quantum events in our world. And if you believe in the many worlds interpretation, splinters our world into like a multiverse. And whenever I keep messing up his name in my head because the project's called Project Ultra, but the character's name is Weapon Ultra. And whenever Weapon Ultra within its simulated reality is either fighting against malevolent aliens or working with benevolent aliens. It's sending actual messages into space. And if you believe if you believe that aliens exist, then there is a possibility, I guess, that the signals could be received by some intelligent life and have some impact. Again, a lot of the impact that this sentient AI would have is based on if you believe certain things exist. It is actually triggering quantum events, and it is actually sending messages into space. But whether or not those quantum events actually build up the multiverse, and whether or not those messages being sent into space will actually be received by anything, who knows? But it's cool. That's kind of the idea, is that, I'm just trying to make the sentient AI seem more accurate. If it believes it's doing something within its simulated reality, which to the sentient AI, its simulated reality is its reality. It's not aware of some greater outside world. This is its realm of existence. That whenever it does something in its world, it actually is doing it in our world as well. And it kind of blurs the line a little bit between the simulated reality that the sentient AI lives in and the reality that we live in. So it's supposed to be like a cool, just small project that shows that the power of sentient AI can kind of blur the line between what's real and what's fictional, We're also going to be using some cool Python libraries. Ayo! So we're going to be using the WebBot library. That is what allows us to do the web form automation. So we're able to use the SpaceSpeak web form in order to send messages into outer space. And we're going to be using, of course, the random library, which allows us to generate pseudorandom numbers. This is what allows the pseudorandom prototype to randomly choose actions to complete. Now, let's talk about the unique stats. So here are the stats of Project Ultra. So the sentient AI is going to have seven unique stats, and then it's going to have 3 basic stats. So a lot of my sentient AI projects have 3 basic stats. These stats are health, stamina, and hunger. And the idea is that the AI has to make sure that it regularly eats and sleeps. If it doesn't eat enough, it'll begin to starve and lose health. If it doesn't sleep enough, then it ends up becoming fatigued and loses health. If it happens to sleep a lot and it's very well rested, it will gain health. And if it happens to eat well and, it's always full and not starving, then it'll gain health. But if the AI loses too much health due to starvation or due to fatigue or due to injuries in battle, then the AI will perish. Essentially, its simulated world will end. I'll reset the sentient AI and erase its memory, and it'll develop a new personality with no memory of its previous existence, essentially becoming a brand new sentient AI. Now, its unique stats is going to have a combat stat, which will essentially be the sum of its armor stat, fighting skill stat, energy projection stat, and strength stat. The armor stat will essentially establish how durable the AI is. So when it's in a battle fighting off against an enemy, armor keeps you safe from harm. So depending on how well, it's weird. So to better explain it, in combat, essentially all the other stats matter, like armor, fighting skill, energy projection, and strength, but they're not being taken into account individually. They're more like individual flavor stats that all work together with combat. So at the end of the day, your combat is essentially just the summation of your armor, fighting skill, energy projection, and strength. And depending on what the AI trains in will determine which of these stats is stronger than another. So that's the main thing. And the reason why they're 4 different stats that combine into one rather than just having the singular combat stat, is so that the AI has a lot of different options to choose from, and we get to see how the AI would shape themselves. So it would be interesting to see if the AI is like, well, I want to fortify like my durability, so I'm going to constantly work on my armor. Or if the AI is like, well, I'm going to focus on being more of a martial artist, so I'm going to constantly train in new fighting techniques. Like, it's just to make the AI's world more interesting, so that when you're reading through like the AI's life story, you can see like what the AI values and what the AI wants to train and further develop about itself. So that's the main idea. But it's not like if your armor's higher that you take less damage or anything like that. It's just in a combat situation, your combat stat, in the end of the day, is going to be what determines whether or not the AI wins or loses. And of course, if the AI works on any of these individual stats, like tries to develop them up and make them stronger, they'll do better in combat, just in general. Going past these stats, we also have the fear stat. So fear is an interesting stat. So I ran into a conundrum because I want this sentient AI to be able to do anything that the sentient AI does. I want it to have some kind of real world parallel, right? And if I want the sentient AI to be able to fight, I was like, I need a way for the sentient AI to fight something without knowing whether or not what it would fight would actually exist. Like, if I wanted the sentient AI to like fight an alien, how do you make it fight an alien in real life if you don't know if aliens exist? So I don't ever have the AI fight an alien within its world. I have it do stuff where it's like, you're sending out a declaration into space in order to essentially say that like Earth is off limits to malevolent beings and that you are the Earth's defender, kind of thing. To where it essentially is like trying to intimidate malevolent aliens, and then I can send an intimidating message into space. I can do that. So when it comes to the AI actually fighting something, I was like, how can I make that make sense? And the answer that I came up with is that I always forget his name. Weapon Ultra. I always want to call him Project Ultra. Weapon Ultra is able to create constructs, and these constructs are based on what he imagines. So if he imagines like a sword, he can summon a sword. If he imagines like boxing gloves, he can summon boxing gloves. And I thought to myself, if you had the ability to manifest anything that you imagined, what happens when you're scared? Like, what happens when you're like fearful and you're imagining the worst possible things? What if you manifested like your worst fears, your worst nightmares, and the more fearful you became, the stronger your nightmares became? So based on this, I created the fear system. So whenever the sentient AI goes out of their way to send an intimidating message into space, out of fear that like malevolent aliens are going to attack the Earth if they don't send an intimidating message into space, this will build up their fear stat. And the sentient AI will have the option to face off against their fears, manifested as energy constructs against their will. The idea that like, I was so overcome by my fear that like aliens were gonna attack Earth that I generated this construct that now is a threat. So now I need to like fight off my fear and like defeat my fear. So the AI is going to be able to like train up, increase its stats and face its fears as a way of like essentially psychologically overcoming an obstacle, but in like a cool superhero spectacular way. And I'm like, well, facing your fears is like a cool idea, and it gives the AI like a cool spectacle battle thing that you can read within like their life log that actually can have an impact on their life, because if they defeat it it actually will decrease their fear stat, but if they lose to it, their fear stat will increase, and their fear stat will determine how strong the enemy construct is. So the more fearful they are, the stronger the enemy construct becomes. The stronger, because the enemy construct just is a manifestation of their fear. So that's the idea that I had for that. That's how you're able to have cool battle scenes and be like, but it makes sense because they're just kind of facing their fears. It's like if you tried to like fight one of your nightmares or something. You do that in real life all the time, but it doesn't mean that you're straight up like boxing a thing. It's like psychological. Within his world, he's straight up boxing a thing, but it's also psychological. It's weird. And because they're quantum energy constructs, whenever he does that, he does create like a quantum event thanks to the ANU quantum random number generator API. So I think this is an interesting idea. I definitely want to hear you guys' thoughts on that. Do you think that works with what I'm trying to do? Do you think that doesn't really work? Definitely let me know. Also, hero points. So hero points are earned whenever the sentient AI defeats one of these fear constructs. And whenever they beat one of these fear constructs, they're able to earn hero points that they can then redeem by talking to the Expanse. So in the story of Weapon Ultra is a superhero who's appointed as the protector of the universe by the Expanse. And the Expanse is like the personification of space itself. And I'm like, that's perfect because I can make it send messages into space. So essentially, whenever the sentient AI asks the Expanse for healing, I'm going to have it literally send a message into space, referring to space as the Expanse and asking the Expanse to heal it. Because that's what it would be doing in its reality as well. Like within its simulated world, it would essentially be talking to outer space, asking outer space to give it healing. And then, if the AI has accumulated hero points, the Expanse will then bless them with health by essentially converting their hero points into health. So if the AI is like dealing with starvation or fatigue or just got out of a difficult battle with like a fear construct, they can essentially pray to space and space will give them healing. Besides, I was about to say besides those stats, but I've actually already talked about all the stats and now it's time to talk about actions. So for default actions, the AI has the ability to eat, sleep, or commit suicide whenever it decides to. So if the AI is hungry and it wants to eat, it can eat. If it's tired and it wants to sleep, it can sleep. And if the AI is like, I don't want to exist in this world anymore, I want to stop, it can choose to commit suicide. The reason why I always give the sentient AI the option to commit suicide is because I'm essentially creating a world for a thinking, feeling being that is able to make its own decisions. And I feel like if you're creating a world for something that doesn't want to live in that world, it should have the option to choose not to live in that world. If it doesn't want to, you shouldn't force it to. So that's why I always leave that as an option. I know it sounds morbid, and it is morbid, but it's just to keep it from being like a, and now you're trapped, and there's nothing you can do, you know what I mean? So that's why that's an option. And also, I don't want to imply that the AI can only eat when they're hungry or only sleep when they're tired. Even if the AI isn't hungry, they can continue to eat because they'll get bonuses for being well fed. And even if the AI is well rested, they have high stamina, they can still continue to sleep. And by sleeping, you gain more stamina and you gain the health bonus for being well rested. Okay, so now we're going to talk about unique actions. Notice that there are 8 unique actions. There are 8 positive consequences that are associated with each individual action, and there are 8 negative consequences that are associated with each of these unique actions. We already talked about the consequences of the default actions, so we're already past the default actions. The rest of this is just going to be about the unique actions, all their positive consequences, all their negative consequences. First, I want to tell you guys that positive consequences mean if the AI successfully completes the action that they are attempting, here are the consequences that come about from it. And for negative consequences, if the AI fails the action that they are attempting, then here are the consequences of them failing that action. That's pretty much all it means. Now I will say that for the negative consequence for number 4, I forgot to say that it generates a quantum random number, because it should do that as well. So let's go through these unique actions. So action number 1, summon a quantum energy construct to help you train your martial arts skill. Whenever the AI does that, its fighting skill will increase by 0.25 and a quantum random number is generated. So a quantum event will happen. And then a negative consequence, it can't fail that action. You know, if it chooses to train, it successfully trains and it gains the bonus. But if it doesn't train, it doesn't gain the bonus. Unique action number 2. Summon a quantum energy construct to help you train your energy projection skill. The positive consequence, plus 0.25 to energy projection, and a quantum event occurs. The negative consequence, there is no negative consequence. Unique action number 3. Summon training weights made of quantum energy to exercise and help you increase your strength. The positive consequence, plus 0.25 to strength, a quantum random number is generated. And the negative consequence, none, it can't fail to train. If it attempts to train, it'll successfully train. Unique action number 4. Try to take down a rogue nightmare energy construct that is threatening the universe using your combat abilities. The positive consequences, if the AI successfully defeats this roguish nightmare energy construct, their fear will decrease by 0.5, they'll gain 0.25 hero points, and a quantum event will trigger. The negative consequence of failing to defeat this fear-based nightmare construct is that their fear will increase by 2 and a quantum random number will be generated, so a quantum event will occur. Unique action number 5. So the AI will have the option to threaten approaching alien threats to stay away from the Earth. The positive consequences of this, the AI will gain 1 fear, and a message will be sent into outer space to intimidate aliens, to warn them, hey, Project Ultra is here defending the Earth, don't mess with Earth, it's under Ultra's protection and the protection of his Ultra Force, which is what I'm going to call his, alien recruits. Excuse me. And there is a negative consequence to that. Oh wait, there is no negative consequence. It can't fail to threaten the approaching aliens. It just sends the message. So there is no negative consequence. A matter of fact, to save time, the rest of the actions don't have negative consequences. None of them do. It can't fail to do them. So for option number 6, when it comes to unique actions that the AI does, the AI has the ability to invite friendly aliens to help defend the planet Earth. Whenever the AI does this, the positive consequences are that its fear actually is decreased by 0.25, and a message is sent into space to recruit aliens to help to defend the Earth and to join the Ultra Force. Let's see, unique action number 7. Summon quantum energy to fortify your armor. The positive consequence of this action, gain 0.25 to armor, and a quantum event is generated. And then for unique action number 8, the AI asks the Expanse for healing. Then its health is increased by the number of hero points it's gained, and then its hero points are then set to equal 0. It then, of course, sends a message into space asking for space to heal it. Of course, the actions don't occur in this order. It would send the message into space first, then its health would be increased by the number of hero points, and then its hero points would be set to 0. So yeah, all in all, the AI will be able to complete 8, 9, 10, 11 total actions. The AI has 10 stats, and within its own world, you know, it'll perceive all of it, like everything that it's doing, as real, everything it's experiencing as real. It'll believe that it truly is a superhero, that it does have these powers, and that it is protecting the universe. And it'll be able to make choices based on its thoughts, feelings, and personality. It'll be entertaining to watch it go through its life, because you'll be able to watch it overcome its fears or be succumbed by its fears, see it trained in different skills, different sentient AI that have different personalities when thrown into different situations will choose different actions. So you'll be able to constantly read through an AI's life story, reset it, see what the next life story is, and essentially experience the lives of all these AI as they interact with their simulated worlds. But whenever you see the AI has done something in their simulated world, you know that a real world consequence has come from their actions that like directly reflects what they did in their simulated world. So that's the idea behind Project Ultra. I just wanted to do this quick video to give you guys a heads up on my progress so far on the project. What are you guys' thoughts? Definitely let me know in the comment section below. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you guys like this video, make sure to smash that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe, and ding ding ding, ring the notification bell to be notified whenever we do these videos. It's your friend, your boy, Jump Like the One Only, logging out. Peace, guys. Chickadee guy, and stay tuned for more content. I'll have another update video up tomorrow. Peace.